A Wakefield investment advisor pleads guilty in February to bilking his clients out of $20 million. U.S. District Court Judge William Young brings the hammer down, sentencing Russo to 18 years in prison. Russo's victims break out in applause. Seeing him taken out in cuffs, what went through your mind?
That this is over with. That I know what he's going to be punished for what he did.
6 years earlier, an eerily similar case, but a far different outcome. High-profile lawyer Morris Goldings pleads guilty to stealing more than $17 million from his clients. Judge Young's sentence, just 3 years. Goldings' victims are shocked.
I was so shaken up to think, my God, 3 years for $18 million?
Janice Indek was a Goldings client and his friend for 23 years. She gave him all her money, $600,000 to invest. How much did you trust him?
Completely.
She was in the courtroom when Judge Young sentenced Goldings.
And the judge more or less put his arms around him, figuratively, and said, prodigal son, I'm so sorry to have to give you any punishment at all. Knowing who you are, what you are, how brilliant you are, how marvelous you are, what an honor it was to have you in my courtroom.
And to watch that
was sickening.
Indek, who lost her life savings, was not alone. Goldings also cleaned out Patrick and Anthony Petronelli, trainers of former world middleweight boxing champion Marvin Hagler.
They basically lost everything, and they can never get it back. That's a life sentence for them.
Attorney Marcia Kazarosian represents the Petronellis, who she says lost more than $2 million. She also was in the courtroom when Judge Young sentenced Goldings. 3 years. When you heard that, what did you think?
I can't say it because I'm on television. I was shocked. What struck me was Young was almost speechless in how he was going to address Morris and what he had done, and I think he was very reticent to sentence him.
Do you think justice was served?
With Goldings? No.
For weeks, we've tried to talk to Judge Young about the wide disparity between the sentences he imposed on Frank Russo and Morris Goldings. He did not respond to our repeated requests for an interview. That left us with the court transcripts to find Judge Young's own words. At Russo's sentencing in February, Judge Young said, "The predator and personal nature of your fraud is simply unparalleled in the experience of this court." When he sentenced Goldings in 2002, he said, "This is one of the largest, most extensive thefts from vulnerable clients that this court has ever seen and may have existed in the history of the country." But Judge Young went on to say, "And now this personally. I was always proud to have you in court, Mr. Goldings. You made the court proceedings better. You truly were one of the best of us." Judge Young and Goldings both went to Harvard and Harvard Law School, although they weren't in the same class. After Judge Young was appointed to the federal bench in 1985, Goldings appeared many times as a lawyer in his courtroom. Stephen Brooks is Goldings' lawyer. Do you think Judge Young's personal feelings for Morris Goldings led to the light sentence?
I have appeared before Judge Young on a number of occasions. He seldom makes a decision without having a rational basis for doing it. Does his personal feelings that he had for Mr. Goldings impact his decision? I can't tell you.
The federal sentencing guidelines for Goldings suggested he should go to prison for no less than 6.5 years. The prosecution asked for 6 years, but also filed a motion allowing Judge Young to depart from the guidelines based on Goldings providing substantial assistance to the government. Judge Young chopped the prosecution's recommendation in half, handing down a 3-year sentence. As his attorney, you must have been pleased with that sentence.
We were, yes, I would say, to be candid, yes, we were pleased with the decision. It could have been a lot worse, and we were not unhappy with what Judge Young did.
But Janice Indek is still unhappy.
I don't know anything about the law, but it seems to me that 3 years was really a pat to a very faithful dog.
Do you think Goldings got special treatment?
Oh, I know he did.
Morris Goldings got out of prison 3 years ago and recently completed 3 years probation. He's living in Florida, where he taught law at a local college and now works as a paralegal. As part of his sentence, Judge Young required Goldings to write a 50-page paper on why he committed his crimes. He was also ordered by the court to pay more than $12 million in restitution. His attorney says to date, he hasn't paid a dime. And despite Golding's substantial assistance to the government, the FBI tells us they haven't recovered any of the millions of dollars Golding stole from his client. Do you have information about a questionable judicial decision? Call us at 1-800-TV-FOX-25. I'm Mike Bodette for Fox Undercover.
Incidentally, Morris Golding is not the only Massachusetts court officer for whom Judge William Young is willing to play favorites. Judge Young put his own career and reputation on the line when he violated rules of law and civil procedure by dismissing the Essex Probate Court heist victims' civil RICO case brought against Judge Stevens, Judge DeGangi, and 14 other defendants. Judge Young's favorite pastime on the federal bench appears to be corrupt favoritism toward fellow lawyers, and now the Essex County schemers are getting ready to distribute among themselves another $500,000. Why not? After all, the federal judge, William G. Young himself, said it was okay. They only stole $1 million so far, a far cry from the $18 million pocketed by Mr. Golding, now vacationing in Florida. Did we mention who plays golf with Judge Young? In 1980, a commission led by John William Ward, former president of Amherst College, produced a 2,000-page report about corruption in Massachusetts. The document's introduction stated, "We have learned that corruption is a way of life in Massachusetts. Perhaps 28 years later, it is time to do something about it."
Thank you.